Okay, good morning, or sorry, should I say good afternoon, grade 11s. Welcome to the CATS class. It's nice to be with you guys. My name is Alan Flint, and I am going to be teaching you guys this afternoon. So I hope you guys enjoy the lesson and that you guys take a lot from this lesson. Yesterday, we introduced you to the wonderful world of Access, Microsoft Access. So it's something that some of you may have done before, but also it may be a new concept for a lot of the students. So I understand if there are a lot of questions that you may have, or things that you're unsure of. I'm happy to take your questions, and you are more than welcome to put your questions in the chat. So we are going to get started, and I'm just going to give a quick recap on what we did yesterday, so that you guys aren't completely in the dark if you didn't join the class yesterday. So like I said, we are doing a section of work called Microsoft Access. Microsoft Access forms part of the Microsoft Office suite. So it's part of Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and then Access. In grade 10, you guys covered PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, and Access. And grade 11 is generally the first time that you are actually exposed to Access. And Access is a section of work that is covered in grade 11 and also in grade 12. So it's a very, very important section of work to understand and grasp. And I think if you get a good foundation on it, you will be set for matric. It counts about 20% of your matric paper or your practical paper. So yeah, it is good and important to understand this section of work. What we are going to be doing today, sorry, just giving a recap of the previous lesson. We looked at the purpose of Access. We compared the functionality of Access compared to other Microsoft programs. So we basically did a little comparison of Microsoft Access compared to Microsoft Word and Excel, and basically how the ribbon differs in Microsoft Access compared to Microsoft Word. We looked at a couple of features yesterday. We looked at what a table is. We also looked at a field. We looked at a record, and we also did a bit of editing in Access. That is all the lessons that we did yesterday. The videos are available if you guys want to access them on YouTube. Just go to Africa Team Geeks, and you should be able to find a pre-recorded lesson based on what we did yesterday. Cool. So if you guys, like I said, if you want to stop me at any point, if you think that I'm going too fast, too slow, please just let me know, and we will then, I will then take any of your questions, and yeah, just let me know if I am going too fast or too slow if you have a question. So again, just a recap of what we did yesterday. We had a look at Access. What is Access? As you can see on the slide now, Microsoft Access is a database management system. A system that manages data. So a company will take all of their information or their data, and they'll store this information on a database. The data or information that you may find on a database would be, for example, all the products that a company sells. You will have the price, you will have the dates purchased, the dates sold, expiry dates. Those are just some examples of what a database could contain. Other information might be all the employees that work in your company. You'll have all the information. You will have their name, their surname, their date of birth, the date that they started working at the company, their salary. All of this information will be stored in a database. And like I said over here, the purpose of Access is to store that data, all those examples that I just gave, to store that data electronically. So it is stored in electronic form, which means that it is generally safe and can't easily be lost. What you can also do is you can manipulate and change that data, and you can process that data as well. Just going again, a recap of what a database is. It's a collection of data or facts regarding a specific topic. So you're not going to have random bits of data just floating around in this database. It's going to be all the information that's based on a similar or specific topic, like all the employees, all the products, all these, those different things will be found in different databases. Cool, that's just a recap so far of what we covered yesterday. What we did yesterday is we looked at an example, and I'm going to go through at the later stage in this lesson is I'm going to go through an actual database with you, and I'm just going to show you a couple of the main features of a database. What we had a look at yesterday is we looked at a table. As you can see over here, we have a table of the Premier League football clubs, obviously Chelsea being the best over there. We had this row over here, which is also known as a record, and a column, which is also known as a field. This entire thing over here is a table. Okay, so it's important to differentiate between a table, a record, and a field, because in your exams, you will be asked questions, for example, change the information in a record. You need to know what a record is so that you know where to change the information. You need to know what a field is because you will be asked in an exam situation to add a field or delete a field or edit a field. So very important to understand the terminology, because in an exam situation, you will be asked to edit these various features in a database. Okay, today's lesson, what we are going to look at today is we are going to look at the main features of Access. We're going to be looking at a table, a query, forms, as well as reports. So those are the main things that we're going to be looking at today. And hopefully by the end of this lesson, you understand where to find these things, what they are, and basically how to create a query, and how to create a form, and how to create a report. I'm actually not going to go into exactly how you create them, but basically where to create them or where to find them. So the main features of Access, and you will be asked questions throughout grade 11 and grade 12. You'll be asked questions about these main features of Access. So the first one is a table. We had a look yesterday at what a table is. And the second one is a query. The third one is a form. And the fourth one is a reports. A table. I showed you a picture of a table earlier, and I hope you grasp that entire block that I had in front of me was a table. A table is used to store data, and it consists of fields, fields which are also known as columns, and they also consist of records. A record can also be referred to as a row. Just going back, going forward here. This is an example of what a table looks like. Just a reminder that this is an example of what a database would look like, and inside that database is this table. We went over it previously. This entire row over here is called the record. So number 1, Liverpool, the stadium is Anfield, the current position is first, goals scored this season is 66. Are they in the relegation? No. Premier League titles in total 1, 18, and best finishing position 1. The current manager is Jurgen Klopp, and this is a record. Okay, important to understand that this entire blue highlighted section is a record. So we have 20 records in this table. The fields, again, are your ID, your club, your stadium, your current position, your goal scored, relegation zone, Premier League titles, best finishing position, and current manager. Those are all the fields, also known as columns. Okay. the main features of Access, we are looking at a table. Where do I create a table is a question that you may be asking. If you go into your database, you will notice a ribbon that looks very similar to the one that might be found in Excel or Word. Some of the features or some of the tabs are different, and that's what we covered. Those are some of the things that we covered yesterday. You'll notice over here that if you go to the Home tab, if you go to the Create tab, you will click on Table, and this is where you create a table in a database. And what you can do in this table is you can add your own data. You can add records, you can add fields, and you can add any sort of information that you want. That is generally what a company will do. They'll create a database, they'll name the table, and they'll start adding fields and records based on the information that they're trying to capture. So this is where you create a table. The main features of Access, the second one that we are looking at. So far we've looked at a table. Remember just to stop me if you guys have any questions, if I'm going too fast, or if you want to suggest something or add anything. You can post that into the chat over there. So what we are looking at now is we're looking at the second main feature of Access, and that is known as a query. Now, what a query is, it's basically like a question. It sounds like maybe a question a little bit. It's a query. It's something that we ask or something that we're trying to find out. A query is used to display only certain records or fields of a table. So now if you remember, if you go back just a couple of slides, you have a table. The table consists of records as well as fields. What a query will do is it will take out specific information that you are looking for and display only those fields and records that we are trying to find. So for example, you may have a massive database with all this information, and it's going to be almost impossible to sift through and search through all this information to find a specific detail or a specific person that you are looking for. So what you will do is you will create a query in order to find that specific information. Queries are also used to draw conclusions about certain things. So for example, if you are a company and you've got a massive database and you want to find out how many of a specific product were sold, you can create a query that finds this information for you, and then you can determine if that product is popular with your customers or if you need to stop selling that product because it's not being sold. So queries are very, very useful for businesses and for individuals who have got their companies and want to find out specific information. The second thing that a query does, it displays records or fields that have been specified. So that's basically what I just covered now. And a query can be saved. So it's basically like a search that you're doing, but you are able to actually save that search for a later time. Okay, where do I create a query? A query, again, like a table, is formed or created in the Create tab, and then we'll go to the Query Wizard. So if you go to the Create tab, click on the Query Wizard, you are able to then generate a query. We're not going to get into that section just yet. What we're trying to do for now is we're trying to introduce you to Access so that you get a good foundation and a good understanding of what Access is, what the main features are, and where to find those main features. Once we've got that good grounding in Access, we'll then start moving into creating creating query wizards. It's like a tongue twister, that one. Creating query wizards, creating tables, and then creating some of the other things in Access as well. So the main features of Access, the second one is a query. We covered the first one, which is a table, the second one, which is a query. The third main feature of Access, that is your form. Okay, the main features of Access: table, query. Number 3 is a form. What a form does is it usually displays the same information or the same data as a table. So you know that the first main feature was a table. What a form will do is it will display the information that is in the table. However, there is a slight difference over here. A form is like a form that you will fill out in class, or a form that you will fill out online, or a form that you will fill out in a survey. It's got a few questions that it will ask you. However, it's done in a user-friendly way. So it captures data in a friendly way, and it usually only displays one record at a time. So when we looked at the table, we had a whole table with multiple records. You see all of those rows, we had about 20 rows in our table. A form will only display one record at a time. So it's basically an easier way for us to capture data and display the information that is then on the table. Where do I create a form? A form, again, is created in the Create tab of Access. If you click on the Create tab and then click on the Form wizard, you are able to generate a form from that section over there. So going back, we looked at a table, we looked at a query, and the third thing we've just looked at is a form. All of those three features of Access are created in the same tab, the Create tab over here. Just underneath there, you can see that this is where we create a table. This over here is where we create a, This over here is where we create a query, and this over here is where we create a form. So we've got a table, a query, and a table, query, and a form. Okay, the last feature that we are going to be looking at today is our reports. So we looked at tables, we looked at queries, we looked at forms, and we looked at reports. So I'm trying to give you guys a nice overview of the main features of Access. And what we'll do from there is we'll go into an actual database and we'll see where these things actually feature and how to kind of edit them, how to create them. Okay, the main features of Access the fourth one is a report. And a report is used to summarize and group information. The user is able to then print this information from a database in a structured way. So basically, you're taking all the information from a table or from a query that you have created and summarizing that information into a way that is easy for a user to kind of identify trends and group information. This is, like I said, a user is then able to print this information. Where do I create a report? This is what we've been doing so far. We've looked at where to create a table, where to create a query, where to create a form, and then the last one is where do I create a report? Very similar to the rest of them. We go to the Create tab and we click on Report Wizard. So we've got a table over here, we've got a query over here that we can create, a form that we can create over here, and a report that we can create over here. Now, these are the four main features that you need to understand in Access going into Matric and going into grade 11. These are sections of work that are tested, and you guys need to understand how to create each one of these, how to edit them, and how to navigate your way around these four main features. If you are able to do this, you should be set for Access going into next year. Awesome. Any questions so far? you guys are all good. Remember just to stop me if you have a question, if there's something that you are looking to understand that you're not sure about. Okay, what we are going to do now is we're actually going to look at a database. We had a look at this database yesterday as well. We're going to look at a couple of features. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what we did in the editing section and the formatting section of yesterday. And then we are actually going to go into where we create the tables, the queries, the wizard, the forms, and the reports. So I'm just waiting for the database to open. You guys should see it on your screen, and then we'll have a look at it. Okay, here we go. Just a reminder about the ribbon at the top over here. This entire block that you guys see at the top of your page is known as the ribbon. The ribbon is obviously found in Microsoft Word. It's found in Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, and Microsoft Access. Each one of these ribbons are different in each one of the programs that we find. There are some features that you find in Access that you don't find in Word, and there's some access features that you find in Word. So there's some similarities and there's some differences. We just need to be able to know how to navigate our way around this ribbon and how to find the various features and then interpret them based on what questions they are asking us in the exam. So at the moment, you can see over here that the entire ribbon is muted. It's all in gray, which means that we are unable to do anything. And you will notice again this big white space over here on the screen. A lot of kids, like I said yesterday, get very confused when they see this. They don't actually know what to do. They're like, where am I going to find the table? Where's the query? I don't know what to do. Like, it's just blank. It's extremely important that you guys spend a lot of time on Access. And the more time you spend on Access, the easier it becomes. And basically, the more familiar you'll get with all of the features. So what I'm going to do over here on the left of my screen, you will see a navigation pane that says tables over here. Every single one of the main features in Access are going to be found in this navigation pane over here. So you'll notice that I have a table, and that is the only thing that I have so far. I've only got a table. However, if you create a table, it is going to appear on this left-hand side of the screen in your navigation pane. If you create a query, it is going to appear on this navigation pane. If you create a form, it's going to appear over here under its own heading. If you create a report, it is also going to appear on the left side of your screen. So everything that you create in Access is going to appear over here. So make sure that you know how to access this, that you know how to sort of find your way, navigate, and perform various tasks over here. You'll notice that the table over here has got a name. Every single table has to have a name. Every single form has to have a name. Every single query has to have a name. And what you are able to do is you are able to edit this table's name. So for example, over here, if I right click on this, I can scroll down over here to rename, and I can change the name of this table. So let's say, for example, I want to change it to grade 11 cat Zoom meet. The table has now got a new name. You need to understand how to change the name of these various features. Are you able to change the name of a query? Yes, you are able to change the name of a query. Are you able to change the name of a report? Yes, you are. Are you able to change the name of a form? Yes, you are able to change the names of all of these. And what these reports, what these tables, what the forms, and what the queries need to represent is they need to represent what is in those various objects. So you'll notice over here, this table is called Premier League Info. And if I open it, you'll notice that it's got all the information about the Premier League, the English Soccer Premier League. It would make no sense if I renamed this to grade 11 Katsumi because the information doesn't match up. So when you create a query, make sure that you name it according to what's going to be found, what information is going to be found in there. Once you create a report, make sure that the report is named according to what information you are going to find in that report. Okay, so just going over a couple of things again that we touched on yesterday and in this meeting. This over here, this column, is called a field. The entire column is the field, and the name of the field is ID. This over here, this column that we have highlighted, this column is also known as a field. The entire column is a field, and the name of the field is clubs. This over here, again, I'm just doing a couple of examples so that you guys can understand this. This over here, this column that we have created over here, this is also known as a field, and the field's name is stadium. So I hope you can kind of get the pattern that we're going with over here. Current position will be the field name. Goals scored, that's the field name. Relegation zone, that is the field's name. Premier League titles won, that is the field's name. So we got multiple fields within this table. We've also got multiple rows within this table, and at the bottom over here we are able to create a new row, and over here we are able to create a new field. Okay, so just going to some of the questions that or some of the things that we were going through over here that we were supposed to do. We had a look at the main features of Access. Yesterday we did some editing and some formatting, and what I'll do is I'll go back to some of that today just to kind of reinforce what we've already done. But what we're going to do today is we're going to look at some of the tabs, and we're going to look at where to create your table, where to create a query, where to create a form, and where to create a reports. Okay, so if you guys remember from what we were doing earlier, where we create anything in Access is in the Create tab. So if we click on the Create tab over here, you will notice that I am able to create a table. One of the students yesterday was asking that question, where do I create a table? Where do I create that? Very good question to ask, and it's important to know this. Okay, you are able to create a table by clicking on table over here, and I'm actually going to actually do that. So you'll notice that I've just created a table, and it is called table 1. Okay, am I able to rename this table? Yes, I am able to create this table. Can I create another table after I've created the first one? Yes, I am. So if I go to the Create tab, click on Table, you'll notice I've now got Table 2. I'm going to do it one more time so that you guys do understand it. Click on Table, Create, I've got Table 3. So I've got now in my database, I've got 4 tables. The first table over here is my Premier League. That has got all my Premier League information. The second table that I've got is called Table 1. It does not have a name, it does not have any data in it. The second or the third table that I've got is called Table 2. It doesn't have any data in it. And the third table that I've got is your Table 3, and it also doesn't have any data in it. What I'm just going to quickly do is I'm going to rename these tables so that you guys can see again where to rename the tables. Let's see if I can do this over here. Okay, it says you can't rename this database object table 1 while it's open. The reason why this pops up is because my table is still open. So what you guys need to understand sometimes is sometimes errors will pop up in Access. I encourage you guys to read through those errors and make sure that you know what they stand for and then how to resolve those errors instead of just clicking OK. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to click on my Premier League table and I'm going to close it. I'm going to click on table 1. I'm going to close it. I'm going to click on table 2, close it. Table 3, close it. You'll notice that my tables have disappeared over here, mainly because they did not contain any information in them. So if I open up Premier League table again, it's over there. And if I go to create, I'm going to create a table. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some information over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a field. I'm going to make that field short text. And I'm going to call that one name. And then I'm going to create another one over here called short text. And I'm going to call that surname. And then I'm going to create another one over here called short text. Let's actually make that one age. So right now we've got a database that we are looking at, and we are going to create a record now. We've created a field over here called name, a field called surname, a field called age, and we are able to add more fields over here. So the first one I'm going to create one over here, name John, surname Smith, and his age is 18. I'm then going to create another one over there, saying Mitchley, and here 17. Okay, so I've got a database over here, and it's got some information over here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to close it. It's going to ask me if I want to save the table. I'm going to click yes, and then I'm going to rename this grade 11 students. And you'll notice over here that my table now appears on the left over here. So I've got a table called grade 11 students. If I open it, it's got all the information all the data that I put in. And if I open up this one over here, it's got all the other information that I put in. So you will notice that you have two tables and you are able to create multiple tables within a database. Just a reminder, this is a field, this is a field, this is a field, and this is a record. This is a record over here. Awesome. The second feature, so we've looked at tables so far. I'm just going to close this one over here. You'll notice that it stays over there. Second one over here that I'm going to create is I'm going to create a form. So just going back to, I'm actually just going to cancel that. Just going back to that. We created a table. The second main feature is a form that we want to create. So we are going to go to our Create tab. And we are going to click on Form Wizard, and we are going to create a form now. Now the form over here comes up like this in the shape of a dialog box that says Form Wizard. Query Wizard is going to look very similar, as well as Report Wizard. What we are going to do over here, the first arrow that we need to click on is which table we want to draw the information from. It's going to be very similar in a query and very similar in a report. What information do we want to draw out from the form? Do we want to draw the information from the grade 11 students, or do we want to draw the information from the Premier League info? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the first one, and you'll notice that the fields come up. If I choose the second table, you'll notice that the fields are different. Let me just cancel this again and open up grade 11 students so that you guys can see over here. I'm going to go back to create. I'm going to go to Form Wizard. You'll notice over here that if I click on the table Premier League, all the various fields come up over here. So those are all the fields over here, and these are the fields that you can choose to include in your form. If I go back and I change grade 11 students over here, and I say form wizard, and I have only 1, 2, 3, 4 fields that I'm able to choose from. Okay, so let's create a form over here. So if you want to follow with me, if you've got access open, you're more than welcome to create these things. I do have a couple of questions or activities for you guys to do, and you're more than welcome to kind of do them as well. You can do them after the lesson or whenever you have some free time. So what we'll do is we'll go to the Create tab. In order to create anything, we click on the Create tab. We can create a table and we can create a wizard, a form wizard, sorry. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a form now. The table that I want to draw the information from is from my Premier League information. What I would like to include in my form is the club. That is the field that I'm going to include. Everything over here is available, and these are the ones that I've selected. And I want to choose the current manager as well. So you'll notice that I have selected the table Premier League information, and I've only selected 2 fields to include in my form. I'm then going to click on Next, and I can choose to create my form in any one of these layouts. So I can have a columnar layout, tabular, a data sheet, or a justified layout. So you just have to look out for what they are asking for in your questions. They might ask you for a tabular layout for your form, and then you select it like this. So I'm going to choose the second one, and I'm going to click Next. And I'm then going to say, what title do you want to give your form? And I can edit the form name over here. For now, I'm just going to keep it the same because the form is going to represent all the information that is actually in my table. I can then either open the form or modify the form's design view. I'm going to click Finish, and you'll notice that a form should appear on the left side of my screen over here. Just taking a bit of time. Okay, there we go. So you'll now notice that you have a Premier League form over here, and what you can do is you can edit this information, and basically this is a easy way for people to sort of insert information. This is what your form will look like based on the tabular view. Okay. Right at the bottom over here, you can insert new records over here as well. So if you've got any other teams that are joining into the Premier League, you can add the information over here, or you can add the information over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close it, and I'm going to close this one over here as well, and I'm only going to have my tables or my Premier League information table open. So you'll notice now that you have 2 of the main features open up in your navigation pane over here. You've got the tables open over here, and you've got the form over here that you can edit and that you can open. Okay, the third thing that I am going to look at, and that's probably the last thing that we are able to get to today. We're running out of the time, but we will carry on with this tomorrow. We are going to create a, where was it? A query wizard. Sorry, that's the second one I should have created, but anyways, query wizard. We're going to create a simple query wizard. That's the only one that you need to know for now. It's a simple query wizard. We're going to click OK. And again, you have tables to select from. We're going to choose the Premier League information. These are all the fields that are available. This time I want to know the club, and I want to know how many goals they scored. And I'm going to click Next. And I'm going to click Next again, and then Finish. And you'll notice that my query over here appears, and it's drawn out specific information that I am looking for. I only wanted to know the club, and I only wanted to know the goals scored. So the query draws out specific information that we are looking for. It's probably not a good idea to keep your query like this, named Premier League info query. What we'll do is we'll close it, and we'll call it whatever information was in there, and we'll maybe call it Premier League teams and goals scored. So it basically reflects exactly what information is in the query. So I'm going to double click on it, and you can see goals scored and clubs. Or I could call it something like this. Or let me just close it first. Rename to clubs and goals scored. Easy as that. Sorry, we weren't able to get to all of the main features in today's lesson, but we will cover it tomorrow. So I'll just make sure that we do cover it. I'm just going to close that for now. This Premier League database is available, so if you guys want to download it, you're more than welcome to. Just to recap on everything that we did today, we looked at tables, we looked at queries, we looked at forms and what they are, and also reports. We weren't able to get to queries in detail, but we did look at forms and tables and where to create them. What we'll do tomorrow is we'll just quickly cover, we'll take our time. We'll look at queries and we'll look at reports, where to create them, and yeah, all of that. There are activities that you guys can do over here. It's on the Google Drive. And yeah, if you'd like to view those activities, you're more than welcome to. Yeah, and there's a database that you can download as well. Oh, sorry. Okay, I don't know if there are any questions. Before we kind of sign out. What we'll try and do tomorrow is we'll try and cover the different types of data used in Access. Yeah, so if you don't have any questions, you're more than welcome to go, but yeah, we also available if you guys do have any questions. Yeah, there's an email address if you do want to email me any questions that you may have. I'm happy to take any questions.
Hi, Alan. Sorry, I don't know if you saw the message. Someone asked you, said they don't have CAT on their schedule tomorrow. Do they still come to CAT?
No. Let me just check. Sorry, I didn't actually see the message come through. What's tomorrow? Wednesday. Hey, no. If they don't have CAT tomorrow, they're more than welcome to. You're more than welcome to join this lesson if you want. But if it's not on the school schedule, then you're more than welcome to only join again on Thursday. Ivo, can I just ask you a question quick?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Sorry, man. Just with the chats over here, like at the bottom of the screen, I've got like all the options. If I click on chats, I didn't actually see like any questions come through. I don't know if it was because I was on the wrong place or
No, I think I
uh,
also saw that. I also saw that earlier. I think they can choose if they send to you or to me.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Because
so I also saw that with like the grade 4 class. The teacher kept reading out answers that I wasn't seeing on mine, and I asked on the group, and they said that they can either send to you or to me. So it's not.
okay, okay,
So
okay,
like now, if you don't answer it for like a while, then I'll come on the mic and
okay,
tell you that someone asked
okay.
something.
Because I'm clicking on chats, but I actually can't see
Don't you have anything in your chat?
nothing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um, let me just check. Where do I open the chat? Say so it's
No, it's just at the bottom. If you go to the bottom, it's just the thing that says chat, and it'll pop up, and it says
yeah.
Zoom group chat. So if it's empty, then yeah, then they must have sent a message to me, not to you.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it does. I mean, it says chat and then it says everyone. So
yeah. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, so then
Okay.
it's just sent to me, not to you.
Okay. Perfect. Man. Um, excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay.